What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can.
Let's talk about Chase Young.
Ooh.
Chase Young was a highly talented defensive end coming out of Ohio State, had a great collegiate career. One of the touted defensive ends, he was looked at like Jadeveon Clowney, a dominant force. Comes into the league, drafted by the Washington Commanders, has a great rookie season, but then the follow-up season in year 2 wasn't so good. Some blame was put on the defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, but then again in year 3, Chase Young wasn't really around. So gentlemen, let me ask you, and with that contract almost about to come up, do you feel as though it's time for the Washington Commanders to move on from Chase Young? Sora, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I do think it's time. You invested too much on this dude. He had a good rookie season, partially because of what was around him with likes of Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan. And now this dude just been struggling, having injuries. He hasn't had a full healthy season, I don't believe, ever since his rookie season. So, yeah, I am thinking it's time for them to maybe consider moving on. And besides, you still got Montez Sweat. And, what's the other defensive tackle's name? The dude from Alabama. Thank you, Allen. So, you still got those two guys. So, yeah, you can afford to move on from Chase Young.
All right, Dante, you've seen Chase Young. We've all talked about it. He has the talent, but he's never really on the field much. For Washington, making business decisions, do you think it's time for them to move on?
Man, I'm conflicted with this because I hate to throw venom at people's careers, but if you go back to the old Go for 2 days before we were ECG, and how much that I just felt like that this dude just had bust potential written all over him, outside of the fact that he was amazing in college, it's just that's what I thought. And luckily for him, I wouldn't necessarily say his career was a bust, but I've said this time and time again, Ryan Kerrigan was the most important piece to his career, especially his first year. And as soon as that left, it was the Montez Sweat show, and and shout out to Don. Don said that Quinnen Williams, Rashawn Gary, and Montez Sweat were going to be great in this league. And they've been every bit of that. So I just got to shout out Don, man, because it's Nostradon, man. You know what I'm saying? He's got when he throws some stuff out there, people better listen to him too. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say Chase Young's career is a bust. I think Chase Young's career has been not only handicapped by really good players surrounding him, injuries, and him dealing with the pressure of playing back in his city, man. He's from that area too, so that's a lot of pressure to put on a young player, especially when they're saying he's going to be the next best thing since he was getting compared to Lawrence Taylor and all kinds of stuff coming out of college, and that's a lot of pressure on one person. So I feel bad on one side of it, but then also I think a change of scenery for Chase Young at this point in his career, 3 years in, would be the best thing for him at this point in time. Look, you got to play for your home city. You got to get drafted there. You had a great first year. You won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Everybody knows that you're talented. Now it's time for you just to say, he's been through 3 name changes since he's been there with this team.
And a potential fourth on the way. So with that being said, man, Chase, I would start clamoring that you want to get traded somewhere else, or, just let them know that you're not happy where you're at, and let these guys move on with something else. The worst thing you can do is, give venom to a team that knows that you're probably not their guy moving forward. The Chase Young train has rolled on and is in a new stratosphere at this point in time. So I'm all about a good change of scenery, see him bounce back in his career. But I know the famous question is going to get asked: who you like better? You didn't like Chase Young either. You like him or Aiden Hutchinson? Give me Chase Young all day. I'm gonna just say that. I like
It's not the fact that he doesn't have the skill set to be great. He does, but I think the conveniences in his career have made him kind of mid. And then you throw injuries on top of that, and then now you just have a huge target on your back. So yeah, I think they should definitely move on from him at this point in time.
Hayden, let me ask you, looking at a business investment for the Washington Commanders, you get this highly talented kid out of Ohio State, first round. He comes up and he shows you that he has the talent to be rookie of the year and potentially, going forward, be one of the better defensive ends in the league. But in year 2, like we said, followed up with a disappointing season. Year 3, we hardly see much of him.
Injuries.
Now we're talking about contract is coming around. We have a contract looming. Do you think for the Washington Commanders, it's time to move on from Chase Young?
Not this year. So I did some digging into this, and I looked up because I know his 5th year was on the table. They declined his 5th year option. So I feel like what...
Hold on. Before you continue, what does that tell you right there? I just want to know.
Confident.
Okay.
They're not.
All right.
Go ahead. I was going to get to that too. And it shows.
No, you bring up a good point. I'm not going against what you're saying. I'm just saying that we felt to bring that up. And yes, that is a great point.
Like his 5th year option was declined. I don't think they're going to trade him. I feel like this year for him is going to be like hey, prove it to us whether or not we should keep you. If not, we'll let you go. If you play it and you want to stay here, we'll gladly re-sign you. That's what I feel like this year is going to be for Chase Young. And I think that's what it should be, because what he can prove in this year is to other teams, hey, I'm worth it. Bring me in. And he can also show to the Commanders as well, saying, hey, I'm still the best part of the D line. Let me, you keep me. So it's like, it depends on this year whether or not for me.
All right. I like it. I think for Washington, man, they have a lot of work to do. They have huge decisions to make in reference to Chase Young. If you keep him, you potentially have what could be one of the best defensive lines in football.
Yeah.
If you let him go, you possibly give a talented player to another team and not get much for it. Or what you could do is you could probably save yourself a pretty penny and let him go. But we'll see what happens with Chase Young.